amount of time, that opening would have given me chills. Back in 1980, when Shogun was released as a miniseries, it was a cultural phenomenon. It was talked about around the water cooler and bridge tables like Game of Thrones would be 30 years later. It was ahead of its time, depicting beheadings and a little bit of titillating fade to gray sex scenes. My entire family watched it, including 8-year-old me. For me, like many Americans, Shogun was my first introduction to Japan, right as memories of World War II were fading and it was becoming an economic powerhouse. Without Shogun, maybe the 1980s ninja craze and Karate Kid might have never taken flight. While groundbreaking for its time, Shogun was also rife with stereotypes. Reports said that inputs from the Japanese actors, including the late, great Toshiro Mifune, went ignored. When shown in Japan, audiences panned it. My uncle, a professor of anthropology who was in Japan on a Fulbright at the time, related a conversation where someone described it as being samurai wearing cowboy boots. After living in Japan myself and watching their jidaigeki, basically samurai films, I tried watching Shogun again. I couldn't make it past the first half hour. If you want to see how the Japanese perceive themselves, with the caveat that every society glorifies its warrior culture, I highly recommend Toshie Tomatsu, as that story covers that same time period as Shogun. Of course, there's a new Shogun, which is coming out next week. From what I've read and heard, the producers listened to the input from the Japanese actors, including the amazing Sanada Hiroyuki, coincidentally my wife's crush, who plays Toranaga.